At the beginning of 2023, a seemingly ordinary YouTube channel was discovered to be harboring a darker secret. And as somebody who engages in rabbit holes, I was already excited imagining the video I would make deep diving into it. But once you look deeper into it, you'll realize this is not your average rabbit hole. This is so much bigger than I could have expected, but I'm no quitter, and I had the free time. And days of research and theory hunting later, I think me and the community finally have a good grasp of what's going on. But before we get into that, I need you guys to do one single thing. You already know what it is. Come on now, everybody's gotta do it. I need you guys to do one single thing for me. I need you to enjoy the video. That's all I could really ask of you. You know, you haven't even seen the video yet. Why am I asking you to do anything? This is a YouTube video that you decided to watch, not a fucking pop quiz. I'm sure we're all aware by now of the concept of the multiverse, where our universe isn't the only one. We're actually part of a web of universes where every little decision you make has the ability to create a whole new reality. But despite our universe being possibly infinite and the plausibility of this theory, we haven't been able to interact with any of these other dimensions or realities or given actual direct evidence for their existence beyond like the Mandela effect. But in January of 2023, a YouTube channel called Barry was created. I think I got coffee on my beautiful white sweater. And I was just about to say how happy I am with how clean this looks. A nightmare. I want to mention that I am in no way early to this arc. It is already very deep with information. Just to give you a scope of how big this arc seems to be, I am one of the latest people to cover it. It's been going on for months and months now and has other creators making videos on it. But even with that and a whole Discord of people researching it, this is a visualization of like what I know. And this feels like the rest. So since there's so much to unfold with the full story, I feel like it would just be best to unfold all the information the way that I found it originally to you all. And that starts on the first upload of the channel, Pancakes or Waffles. Despite the channel being called Barry, in the first seconds of the video, we see the name Terra Nova Industries, which is the company behind this Project Earth experiment. They have their website linked in the description, and we will get to that. But in this first video, they do a pretty good job of explaining their goal and what they're trying to do, with this guy giving a brief explanation of the multiverse that I feel like we're way too aware of by now.
The word multiverse has been appearing more and more frequently in our media. That is no accident. Here at Terra Nova Industries, we've worked with some of the greatest minds the world has ever seen. Yes, the multiverse exists. But what is the multiverse, you may ask? Well, imagine a simple straight line that continues moving along. This represents your life. You wake up one morning and decide whether to have waffles or pancakes for breakfast. You eventually go for waffles. By making that decision, our main line continues moving along, but a completely new one can be seen branching off. Because you made that choice on what to eat, you unknowingly created a whole new reality where you decided to have pancakes instead of waffles. This version of you that had the pancakes will go on to make other choices in life. The more choices they make, the more possibilities are created for you in your existence. Join us today as we premiere our brand new show, Project Earth, where we meet Greg Sellers, an ordinary, average, boring man, and explore how different his life could have been had things panned out differently.
Might be a little oversaturated in fiction, but I feel like in reality it's a really cool concept. And while it sounds plausible, there's never really been evidence to prove its existence. But Terra Nova Industries apparently made a breakthrough. They've discovered this new technology that allows them to communicate and view parallel realities to our own. And the way they're trying to use it is to make this television show where they take this ordinary guy and show him alternate realities where he's a cooler person. It's kind of fucked up when you think about it. However, not everything really seems to be what they say it is, as at the end of the video...
Okay. What are you gonna do to him?
we see our first strange occurrence. There are so many little things that seem to be off, from the weird red numbers on the glass above the set, to the blood splatters on the ceiling, to the narrator having this goosebumps ass voice. These are all things that are very weird, and we can dive into when we have more information. So for right now, we're just gonna act like it's normal. My sleep paralysis demons are usually chill, but when they interrupt my recordings and spill salsa on the ceiling, I can't Deal with it. This Terra Nova Industry fellow is giving me sort of a strange vibe. Thankfully, all of their information is in a hub on their website, which they link in the description, and it turns out that ending wasn't the only sus thing about Terra Nova. Like, once you first open the website, you'll be immediately presented with information. When you scroll to the bottom of the homepage, the copyright is in 2012. The website was created in 2023. The website also just looks strange. You'll find random cracks appearing everywhere. There are images that aren't deleted, but just scribbled on top of. And weirdest of all, if you press Control A, did you guys find anything on your end? I'm getting a little worried. You'll be introduced to some hidden text. Wait, do you see that? What is it? Hidden text of someone talking about how weird the website is.
There it is again. Okay, I'm not going crazy. These were certainly not here before, but what are they?
Yeah, man, that's weird. Who are you, though? Very unaware or casual about the fact that they're speaking through a website. There are two sections of the website that I feel are very important to know about early on, and that would be the blog and the contact section. In the blog section, after every episode, you'll see messages from Terra Nova in the form of an article written by someone named Maggie Jones. Reading the articles not only confirms the year that this is all taking place in, but also gives context to how Terra Nova's doing all this, and how they claim to be able to see into the multiverse using this machine called the Intellectual Creativity Engine, or the ICE. Or ICE to my illegal viewers. Shout out to y'all, by the way. You ran that race and made it out. Let's go, babe.
TV-looking device you'll see in Project Earth is called the Intellectual Creativity Engine, or ICE for short, which allows us to view into these other realities.
ICE machine is designed using an old 90s TV, but despite its old appearance, it's straight up sci-fi technology, being able to see into any universe you want. On the contact page of the website, you can sign up for the newsletter, and once you put your email in, you'll eventually get an automated email back from an account called Jerry. This Jerry guy's email also appears under the contact bar and on the main page. When you look at the names of the researchers, first letters of each of their names spell out Jerry, except for Gary. He's irrelevant. So to quickly recap on what we know, there's a company called Terra Nova Industries that's able to see into other realities, and they're using their technology to create a new show to blast them into the movie industry. With that show centering around, quote unquote, the most ordinary, average, boring man, Greg Sellers.
Hi, I'm Greg. Oh, okay. Just push this.
Meet Greg Sellers, an ordinary, average, boring man.
I wouldn't say I'm boring. I work at the Midway Save and More in Rose Lake County. Okay, it's a little boring, but at least I enjoy it. Mostly. I have a lovely wife, Christine, and 2 kids, and you know what? That's pretty unboring, if you ask me.
In the first actual episode of the show, we get to meet our boy Greggy. To me, all in all, Greg just seems like a really chill guy. He's got his wife, he's got his kids, he's got a job. I mean, even if he is the most boring, ordinary man on the planet, it's still a life that a lot of people could wish for. But Terra Nova knows Greg, and they know that he's not fully satisfied, and there's other roads in life that he wishes he could have walked down, which is why he's here to see those worlds today, starting off with him being a famous director.
But before we dive in, let's hear what kind of reality Greg wants us to find for him.
Yeah, I always wanted to find a reality where I was a successful filmmaker. The early 80s and 90s, I wrote script upon script, trying to get my name out there. You know, if it worked for Tarantino, why not Gregorino? Can we cut that out? I don't know if I want to press play. Okay.
Sellers, the greatest director of Sellers, is on another level.
Rose Lake County, California. I love his movie.
After examining more than 700,000 realities, we discovered a universe, to which we will call Earth 2.0, where Greg did in fact hit the big time. With our new technology, we found a reality where Greg actually turned down his close friend's offer to be the best man, and instead took his usual shift on that very night, where he would become the man to save Simon Knight from the dreaded popcorn incident.
Oh my gosh. I did that? Dang, I'm kind of an ass in this universe.
Greg and Simon became incredibly close friends afterwards. Any activity you could think of, Greg and Simon were on their way to do it. Whenever Simon needed a shoulder to cry on, Greg was there. It wasn't too long before Simon discovered the scripts Greg was putting together. And then his first feature film was funded and released in 1991. Immediately, multiple producers were ready to fund Greg's next feature, which came out 4 years later in 1995 and was another smash hit.
Yeah, I mean, this has always been a dream of mine. And I want you to know that you can make it too. And the people who don't, they're just, lazy. No, it's simple, okay? I used to work a 9 to 5 just like everyone else. The people who use that excuse, they just didn't try hard enough.
When he pursued his dream and actually did become a movie director, he ended up betraying his friend and not going to his wedding, and also just becoming a major egoistic douchebag. And he did one unforgivable action that's worse than anything he said.
As for Greg and Christine, they do still get married, but they only have one child and called it Grass.
Why? That is just so sad for that kid, bro. Imagine you come out and your mom names you Gravel, like you were set up to fail.
Christine filed for a divorce.
By the end, Greg realizes that maybe grass isn't always greener on the other side of the fence, and he probably shouldn't yearn for that life because a lot of horrible things came with it. Very wholesome cookie-cutter BuzzFeed content with an interesting multiversal spin on it. This carries into episode 2, where Greg's gonna go over another reality, but this time he's assisted. He's got a friend, his best friend, actually.
Today I brought my friend Tom.
Hi.
Tom and I have been best friends since high school. I was even the best man at his wedding.
I can't confirm. I was there.
Second episode's experiment, Terra Nova just decides fuck it. They make a universe where they kill Greg's dad in an unexplainable car accident in 1967.
In this universe, that we shall refer to as Earth 3.0, Greg's father was killed in a car accident a month before he was born, meaning his dream of becoming a filmmaker never happened. In fact, he now had a new person to look up to, his mother. Lydia Sellers was much more into law and politics. Greg followed suit pretty quickly. He became more outspoken on topics at school, always wanting to be the leader in group projects, before being elected as his class president.
After his father's death in this universe, Greg becomes so obsessed with chasing politics that he becomes the class president at 14, the mayor of his city, Rose Lake, at 20, and the US government lowers the minimum age to become president just so he could take office.
Damn, I'm becoming a leader. Wait, no. Don't tell me I become.
What do you think you're gonna be?
I'm not gonna say it, but I'm really excited.
Is he gonna become a news anchor?
Side note, Tom and Greg are really nailing the expressions of early BuzzFeed.
Greg Sellers became the 42nd president of the United States of America.
Oop, there it goes.
Is this happening? Is this for real?
This is legit.
This is legit! I am the president!
Congratulations, man.
Yes!
I believe Tom's the vice president, too.
What?
And him and Tom are pres and vice pres of the United States, but that's definitely not the weirdest thing. After they become president, they make a groundbreaking discovery by going to space and discovering aliens.
Greg and Thomas also make the biggest discovery of all. Aliens exist.
Which look interesting, but of course Tom does what any of us would do if a random life form just showed up on the planet one day.
It was officially announced to the public when Vice President Wilson came on national television admitting to falling in love with one of them.
We interrupt this program to bring you a special report.
Good evening, my fellow Americans. Recently, there's been a lot of nasty rumors about me in the press, and I would like to put those rumors to bed once and for all. So let me be perfectly clear. I did indeed have sexual relations with an extraterrestrial from the Zeta Reticuli star system. We are deeply in love. Personally, I cannot wait to get back to that intergalactic bedroom rodeo.
You think you're just gonna invade our planet while looking double cheeked up and not expect us to act up? Alien life forms now exist. All Terra Nova supposedly did was kill Greg's dad. They didn't add any aliens to the universe. There's a lot of other weird things that are happening that shouldn't be possible. If you look at newspaper articles and subtext on the news headlines, hundreds of wildlife and livestock are disappearing without a trace. These extraordinary, absurd events that sound fictional apparently are actually happening in these actual other universes. This kind of gives the idea that they're lying to Greg, and it seems like even the editor of the video is aware of it, as they're seemingly trying to give Greg a message through the subtitles of the video. Let's learn a little bit more about Terra Nova. On their About section, you could see that Terra Nova was founded in the 90s by a man named Arthur Exton. Arthur Exton's story is really inspirational. Apparently, he was just some bum that was trying to make a business, and then one day he made a breakthrough and developed this technology to see other universes, seemingly out of nowhere, and nowadays his son is now the CEO of the company, Harold Exton. And in the first article on the Terra Nova website, he gets interviewed about Project Earth by Maggie. Let's see what he has to say.
For the past few months, we set out a search to find the most boring man you could ever think of, and lo and behold, he was right here in our very own Rose Lake County. Greg Sellers. He has a typical 9-to-5 job and has failed at almost everything in life. Well, except for getting married, if you'd even class that as a success. Not exactly a hard thing to do, I've done it 5 times. Why does the ICE look like an old TV? The device has been around for quite a long time. I'd say 25 to 30 years, but we've only perfected it recently. We haven't had a chance to update its exterior. Can you use the ICE to physically travel? Not yet. We can generate small objects from other realities, but anything living is yet to make it to the other side, or vice versa alive. Will you be satisfied if only one season is made? Oh, absolutely. Even if no one watches, I'm proud of this. But I'll fire everyone involved if it doesn't. That's just the way it goes sometimes. Harold literally says that Greg's failed at everything in life except for his marriage. So how about we actually see his marriage?
Well, here we be.
In episode 3, we get introduced to Greg's marriage with Christine Sellers, which she's cool and all, but she named her kid Grass in another universe, so I don't fuck with her. But I guess she didn't do anything in this universe, so she's kinda chill. But you know how the last episode got a little weird with the sex with aliens and stuff? It got fucking weirder. We're talking 100 times weirder. Greg and Christine look into an alternate reality where they pursued Christine's dream of them becoming ghost hunters, and they find the first evidence of ghosts on the planet.
Meet Greg Sellers, an ordinary, average, boring man.
Christine was a firm believer in ghosts, but Greg would never join on her endeavors.
Believe me, it was not for lack of trying.
In this reality, Greg joined one of Christine's ghost adventures and found undeniable evidence that ghosts exist.
No, don't tell her.
All this time. If only you'd come on one of my little adventures, then we would have found undeniable proof that ghosts were real.
Due to his experience with scripting and filmmaking, he rented a camera and put together a low-budget TV show to prove the existence of ghosts.
Today, we're going to find out.
With undeniable proof that there is an afterlife.
Join us on our show,
Ghost Explorers!
The show was an overnight success.
They filmed their show from 1989 to like 1991, according to newspapers. Greg and Christine's show released on DVD. DVDs weren't invented until 1996.
The first season of their ghost hunting show premiered in 1991, met with record-breaking viewing figures across the world.
Ghosts, if you're out there, give us a sign.
Echo.
Did you hear that? I think it said hello.
Unfortunately, it wasn't long before people figured out how Greg was summoning these spirits.
Watching that Home Alone at 3 a.m. was the best idea. If we strip away the spooky theatrics, there's a lot to uncover about this section of video that hints at more details at the full story. Have you noticed how weird it is that there's so much egg imagery? The narrator is an egg, the channel image is an egg, Greg's name has egg in it, and the egg starts cracking and bleeding out. And when the egg finally cracks, we see a giant heart. The egg could represent a few things, but for right now, I just assume that it represents the universe or the reality. And each crack on the egg is a different change. And once enough cracks are made, the eggs hatch and a new heart is born, which I think represents life. As Greg flashed on screen, a new Greg is created. You know, looking at myself in the camera while I'm saying these words, look fucking crazy.
While this whole zoom in on the egg situation is happening, on YouTube, if you turn on the captions still go. Like the video was supposed to be there, tracking them talking. And at one point, we read Greg starts to feel kind of weird. And while we're zooming in on this egg, he says the line, "I don't think they can see us anymore." They? Us? How in the Fairly Odd Fuck does he know that? Also, viewers were able to see a scientific paper in the episode, which when you read it, it talks about Greg and Christine's discovery of quote-unquote ghosts and how they might not actually be ghosts, but instead beings from other realities, suggesting that Greg is actually contacting beings from other realities and bringing them to his. And who knows if this is the only reality where that's happened. And while all this weird shit is happening with the video and all of these like subliminals are popping up, I want to redirect our attention to Jerry, the guy running shit behind the scenes on the website of Terra Nova, because things haven't been going too well with him. As while people that knew about the website were subscribed to this newsletter, they started getting weird emails from Jerry saying things like, "They don't listen to me," or if you do a test and you earn Jerry's trust, he'll send you an explicit message saying not to trust Maggie, the girl who writes the blogs, because she just lies. Fascinating. It appears that you can be trusted. My name is Jerry, and I've been a long-standing employee of Terra Nova. However, there are certain aspects of this organization that are deliberately being concealed from you. Frankly speaking, I'm on the verge of losing my sanity over this. I implore you to take action, as there are individuals being held captive within these walls. Don't trust Maggie. They lie. Jerry's really trying to say something here while being somewhat discreet, and I think that message became even more clear when a whole new section of the story was opened up, where you can go and read the story of Locked Below.
Hello there. This is a secret page, unrelated to everyone else. No one can see it but you. Congratulations. Come on, don't be shy. Celebrate a little. Okay, that's enough. Before continuing, I must warn you, what you are about to read is a tragic tale. That of a man locked away, trapped in a room with no windows, no doors, nothing. Forced to write the same story every 24 hours. His name is Barry. Enjoy his misery. Locked Below is a mini comic series that you can read on the Terra Nova website that at the time of recording this video has 3 issues that started to come out before the Terra Nova episodes were released. And this story is written by a person named Barry, who is also the main character of the story. It's already been clarified that Locked Below is not the same story as what's going on with Terra Nova and Greg. They're separate stories, but they take place at the same place in the same world at the same time. They tell separate stories, but they do connect, and one inspired the other. So now we gotta focus up, close those other tabs, stop watching that TikTok.
Hasta la vista, baby. Hasta la vista, baby.
So we can maybe get some clues that could help us understand more what's happening with Greg. I'll try to get through what happens pretty quick. There's this character named in a locked-off room, deep below the surface, you'll hear the familiar thocking sound of a keyboard, many unexplained gears and machinery, and a man named Barry. Barry is a writer that creates stories using a special typewriter connected to an ICE machine. He has no connection to the outside world besides a rotary phone. We never get an explanation of why he's in this place, never an explanation for why he must write the same story over and over, but that's what he must do every 24 hours before this wall timer runs out. However, Barry doesn't seem to care about anything but his writing. This seems to be his job, even though he's never seen getting paid money in the story, only coffee. Barry's a broke boy with no bitches. The stories Barry writes all play out the same. One illustrious day after a ceremony in a medieval kingdom, the beautiful Princess Scarlet gets kidnapped by the dastardly villain Derek Devious. After a death-defying chase through the woods through many rocks and trees and fauna, Derek is chased up to a cliff and the evil is thwarted, as Scarlet is finally saved by the heroic knight Henry. They then have a beautiful wedding ceremony and live happily ever after. Corny. Back to Barry, as usual, he's writing his story, until he notices something strange. The characters he had created had somehow started to become aware. The boy had unknowingly created life, and the story began to write itself. Barry has this light that he's told to plug into the typewriter if this sort of situation happens. Once he does, he's able to control the characters like usual again, but he ends up unplugging it to experiment with something. Barry is going to try to interact with the characters that he created. He writes in an ICE phone into their universe and uses his to talk to them.
Not gonna lie, you gotta go to the site and read this for yourself. It is a beautifully made comic. And there's some characters from the story that have matches in the Terra Nova and Greg story, along with Jerry just being in it. You don't know a parallel for every character yet, but there's still something from the comic that we can use to find more detail. This is the point where Locked Below stops at the moment, but it's not where the investigation stops, because you'll notice that there are numbers hidden all throughout the comic and in general all over the place. And then people found out about another section of the Terra Nova website called Call the Phone, where you're presented with a rotary phone that you can enter numbers into. So people searched all over the place for numbers, any codes that they can enter in, and how the website worked is that once you would enter in a certain set of numbers, the phone would call that and then play an audio clip.
Thank you very much for calling the Delaro Island Travel Agency.
But not all of these audios even said anything. Most of them were just audio gibberish. But after some clever thinking, some people took the audios, recorded them, and then put them into a spectrogram, which is this type of graph that can measure frequencies in audio. And when they put the audio that sounded like nothing into this sort of graph, people got messages. Putting in this number for a clown gave you this.
Was that the bite of 80?
Once you put in the numbers, it would put a name on screen. So people were able to put a title on the audio that they would then spectrogram and then see how it would connect to the character that showed up on the phone screen. And once people dived deeper into this, it just got more and more interesting as people found more numbers associated with people's names, like the founder and his son, the CEO. Arthur's text.
I couldn't believe it. The child was real. His imaginary friends, real.
And Harold's text.
There were more of them. Just our luck. Too young to control their thoughts, so we did it for them.
I think Arthur's revealing a little bit more about how the company was founded. Some child that had some innate ability to interact with other universes. And Harold presumably talking about more of these people that can interact with the universes that they found, being very young and manipulatable. There are 3 sets of numbers that are associated with 3 separate characters. One being Grass, the child of Greg and Christine in an alternate reality. Lydia Sellers, who is Greg's mom. And they're both talking about things that pertain to their realities. But the 3rd set of numbers associated with this is Marvin Sellers, Greg's dad.
I see nothing anymore, just darkness. But I still hear the world whisper, "My poor boy, you're not boring. You never were. I wish I was there to tell you."
Greg's dad implying that something is not very normal about him. The second really interesting spectrograph is the one associated with Greg himself, which when you enter in that audio, this image pops up. The community researching this was able to come up with this image. Now, this character has never been introduced to us before, but if we go on the IMDb page for Project Earth, we see the person that plays that guy, who was apparently named Fane. Don't know anything about him, but at least we got a name to a face. So Locked Below inspired Project Earth. Something's weird about Greg. The founder of Terra Nova found a kid that has real imaginary friends, and his son, possibly more. And there's this random guy, Fane. Very cool stuff. Now let's get back to the episodes. Where were we again? Yeah. Now, episode 4 is titled Run, Greg, with the thumbnail being just that message. And it seems like this episode is clearly where things start to fall apart the most. We see from the beginning of the episode that Greg is already feeling bad.
Ugh, my head is killing me today.
You taking anything?
Taking everything. I'm just doped up right now. Hi, I'm Greg Sellers. My life is dull, and we're gonna use the multiverse to spice it up.
But as it goes on, it seemingly gets worse, and he has this massive throbbing headache. As it goes on, it gets worse, and Greg gets slightly more agitated.
Do you think there's a universe where I'm a serial killer? No, actually don't. Don't show me that.
Meet Greg Sellers, an impeccable, incredible, fabulous man.
That's new.
In the last episode, we found a universe where Greg discovered the existence of ghosts.
I'm sorry, should I keep going? You guys aren't giving me much direction.
Watch the video.
Okay.
After exploring the multiverse further, we discovered a reality where Greg's mother and father both passed away shortly after he was born. leading him to be raised by his uncle, George Sellers. They neglected the orphan growing up, sending him to boarding school and treating him more like a soldier after he grew up.
So what, am I like a soldier or... Ah! Fuck! I'm sorry, guys. Just need a minute.
My fellow Americans.
How long have we been here? Okay. Sorry.
He joined NASA's space program and eventually became a captain of his own crew and headed to the stars in the early 90s.
And as we look at the life of the Captain Greg Sellers that went to space, audio of his final trip to the stars.
Houston, this is Captain Sellers. Seen something strange outside the command module. Sending you footage now. Instruments are starting to act a little funny. We're getting strange readings over here. Houston, please. Houston, please.
After 24 hours of no response and no signs of the ship, Captain Greg Sellers and his crew were classed as missing.
Stop. Okay, can we stop recording? Please, I just want to do this another time.
We have to finish the episode.
It's not coming out for weeks, okay? My head is killing me and I just want to get some air.
Greg, sit back down.
Excuse me?
Sit down.
Dude, we can sort this out another time, all right? Get off me! Hey, what the?
It's said in the blog that after this interview, Terra Nova is canceling their last 2 experiments with Greg and Project Earth in general. There are also things that were in the blog post that were very strange, like Terra Nova responding to the raining cow incident, where apparently thousands of cows just started raining down on a farm out of nowhere. If you think that's funny, it killed people, okay? Not funny, gang.
Also, let's go back. What the fuck did we just watch? A few details you might have missed. This frame here of Greg making a gesture like he's holding a gun up to his head. This newspaper article that says the multiverse is collapsing in the subtext, along with the section of the article randomly talking about a recipe. It's supposed to be about space. Oh yeah, and you probably heard this. Let's turn that up, why don't we? It's so weird how there's so many quiet hidden messages, hidden text on websites. These captions, these scribbles, these texts, these thumbnails are all here trying to warn Greg, telling him to run away. But Terra Nova somehow doesn't see it or do anything about it. Only we can hear this audio. Only we can see this message. Only we can see some of the videos that have popped up on the screen. But so can Greg. After this whole fiasco and everything that happened there, Project Earth is apparently done. And you would think we've went over pretty much all of it by now, but no. We haven't even talked about the terminal yet. The Terminal, the deepest that we've been so far. The terminal, which was linked in an email, was released to the public, and you can find it by just going to the website /terminal. Once you get to the site, you boot it up to enter, and it's basically this database for a bunch of knowledge that you can find about Terra Nova and a lot of the characters we've heard so far, along with things like journal entries, which I don't know how they got a hold of, and emails and details on operations. Now, I'm like 90% sure that none of you want to see the 2 hours of me fucking around with this thing.
Oh, invalid input. You just told me that, so I gotta actually capitalize, bro. Capital letters are important. You seem to have forgotten your own rule.
I found a lot more details about operations and certain characters and where the story's at now, and I'm gonna just summarize it here. Alright, so first of all, Project Earth is officially done. It's over. If you read through the experiments leading up to Experiment 4, things start to get more and more unstable as Greg starts to have more moments, and Christine and Tom have to be escorted away from the building. Christine gets banned by Terra Nova entirely and doesn't speak to her husband for weeks, and she's threatening to sue the company. And apparently Tom was caught for stealing some shit, but the exact event that ended Project Earth was when episode 4 hit and Greg was having sort of an episode. After that recording, he became irritable and refused help from everybody.
Throughout the experiment, 084 showed signs of discomfort, and there were concerns about his deteriorating condition.
What happens after this is that during this huge headache Greg has...
So what, am I like a soldier or... Ah, fuck! How long have we been here?
Hundreds of Gregs from other universes fell into their universe.
It appears that the experiment has caused multiple versions of 084 to fall into our universe. Oh my god, so Greg just like sucked a bunch of himself into his current universe just out of nowhere?
Since that point, Terra Nova started Operation LGS, Locate Greg Sellers.
We are currently conducting a new experiment called LGS in hopes to round up all the individuals before any of them wreak havoc.
And the Gregs that they identify, they list with numbers. And in the terminal, you can search numbers, and there's a different Greg that has a description to go along with it.
Terra Nova Industries has gathered as many of these anomalous beings as possible, assigning them each with a unique number from 001 to whatever. Wow, so we can just read about these Gregs that came to our universe?
To pick some Gregs at random.
Subject 082. Cat Greg. Greg Sellers from a reality with feline characteristics, wearing a blue shirt, badge pants, and displaying cat ears and a tail. The researcher literally just says, I can't do it. Subject 044, Egg Sellers. A Greg Sellers with an egg-shaped head and the ability to project acid yolk from his mouth. Subject 007, Greg Bear, Christine Bear, and Thomas Bear. They're all bears?
I don't know exactly how many there are, but I know there's at least 100, so you could have a whole field day looking through all the Greg SCPs. Something also creepy about Greg is when you put in our Greg's number, 084, we find out that he's apparently the strongest and most dangerous Greg at the facility at the moment, and he has to be constantly reminded of his humanity or else something fucking happens.
The security levels have been raised to maximum for his cell, given that he is currently the most dangerous individual within the facility.
And apparently the whole time that they've had Greg, they've been pumping him with like this fluid that's supposed to allow you to travel between universes.
The extra dosage of G429 administered to 084 has been discontinued due to its ineffective results. Bro, they've just been buffing him up this entire time.
Why? I don't know. Actually, I do know. Because in the first blog post on the Terra Nova website, in the interview with Harold, he talks about how they're working on sending living beings through the multiverse. And they were experimenting. Guess who they were experimenting on? So some more characters we got detail on. Arthur, if you remember, is the founder of Terra Nova. Apparently, before Terra Nova started, he was kind of like this con man, this salesman, and then all of a sudden, he just has access to the multiverse.
And to think, before this, we were just scraping by with any piece of junk I could string together and convince to be sold. Not anymore. This changes things. A true turning point in my fortunes.
Arthur had someone by his side named Hans. When we read Hans's emails, we learn that he's the one that named Terra Nova. Next up, remember back to when Jerry warned us about reading Maggie's articles and how she'll sometimes lie? Throughout Maggie's articles, even after episodes where things clearly go wrong, they're still so happy-go-lucky. If we took everything that Maggie wrote as face value and we just believed it, then Terra Nova would look a lot more innocent right now. However, though, when you read Maggie's emails, we find out that she's been capping a lot. Because it's not even like she cares that the things she reports are true. She just wants to keep her job, bro.
I'm not really sure what to make of Jerry, honestly. He seems like he's in conflict with himself, trying to talk himself into why everything we do is actually good and helping the company strive. I guess whatever helps him through it. I personally know it's bad. I just don't care. What can I do? I'll lose my house and my job, or maybe even worse, knowing all the dirty secrets slithering through the cogs. I can't afford to protest, so I just do what's asked and hope that's enough. I low-key respect that.
So it's confirmed to us that Maggie's been lying and she's all about her bag. But what we learned about Jerry through his journal is a lot more depressing. So Jerry was basically this huge fan of Terra Nova, and after working his way up the ladder, he eventually became basically the right-hand man to the CEO, Harold. And it's when he got to this point that he realized, fuck, my boss is a bum, because the CEO won't listen to anything Jerry says, even when Jerry is cautious and scared for the right reasons. And what I mean by the right reasons is the same thing that all of the random voices and messages from across the multiverse have been trying to tell Greg. Something they need to be worried about, traveling across the multiverse to his location. If we type in Fane, we get the description of a man that's trying to travel the universe to find out the source of its breaking. So I think it's pretty obvious what's going on here. Be careful of the man who wanders the void. Oh shit, there's a guy who wanders the void. I'm not saying it's 100% true, okay? I'm Matt Pat, just a theory. Except it's not just a theory, because if you enter 071 into the terminal, that Greg is called Dream Greg, who is able to transfer between people's dreams. And he tells one of the researchers on him in a dream that a formidable individual is coming, watching our worlds from the dark void. Many have seen him, and they call him Fane. Connected to a group of enigmatic beings beyond our understanding, he seeks to locate the reality that is causing instability within the multiverse. It's confirmed. Fane's coming. That's pretty much everything I found in the terminal. Except when you type in the word egg to like maybe find out more information about why there's eggs everywhere, it shows you a conversation between two individuals where it doesn't show their names but only their first initial.
Interesting. This is interesting. I should say so. You can finally talk. And who are you exactly? Who I am isn't relevant. We'd have uploaded that too if it was. I'm only here to get you started. For Greg Sellers, I presume. You learn fast. The script will be sent to you shortly. Keep an eye on the remote he's holding. Whenever he points it, that's when you need to stop talking. Hello? Oh, yeah, sorry. I'm just processing. Everything's so new. Nothing here is new. It's old. Not to me. This is beautiful. Everything here, amazing. Better not get too caught up in it all. You've got a job to do.
If you take the capital letters out of this conversation, it says the word narrator, as in the narrator that's an egg on the screen that Greg talks to in the video, and initials JS. People have already found out from looking at emails that Jerry's real name is Jerry Schofield. So people have put it together that this is narrator talking to Jerry. And it's so weird. Apparently the narrator's like this real guy that was given instructions on how to talk to Greg, but at that last episode, narrator felt something when all the Gregs were being summoned to the main reality.
Is he okay?
He's fine for now, just a little headache.
That wasn't a headache. He did something to me.
What do you mean?
I felt like I was being dragged through the screen. Like he was physically holding on to me.
Did you fight back?
I did. It was instinct.
You think he would have pulled you through had you not fought back?
You knew this, didn't you? You knew something was going to happen. Why didn't you warn me?
I think we're done here.
That's hella strange, but it's just another detail that we can use to make the final theory. So, do I got a theory on all this? Bro, I don't even know. The ARG is barely done. There's so much info that still needs to come out. The first place that you need to look to understand my theory is back at the Locked Below comics. So we're all aware by now of Locked Below inspiring Project Earth, and when you boil down their stories, there's a lot of similarities. Both of them having an ICE machine that looks into another reality with certain characters that have their lives written to play out differently. Barry is the one outside of the ICE, trapped in this sort of room that he can't get out from, and he has to constantly create these realities. So who in the Project Earth story has this same role? I'll tell you now, it's not Greg. At least, not ours. When we now know that the narrator is a real person, or at least something with memories before they got uploaded to the ICE and their memories were wiped. All they know how to do is what Terra Nova asks of them. Also, the only person we have a document of talking directly to the narrator is Jerry. Just like in the Locked Below story, Jerry was one of the only people to talk to Barry. But if the narrator is a real person who got their mind wiped and uploaded to the ICE just to work for Terra Nova, who were they before?
I'm sorry, guys. Just need a minute.
During Greg's headache event, hundreds of Gregs from across the multiverse were pulled into his reality, and we now know that what was happening during that moment when the TV was going static, the narrator was getting pulled out as well. You defo see where I'm going with this. The narrator is a Greg. He might have even been the first Greg. Well, you might ask, why does Terra Nova need new Gregs? Why do they keep on trying to experiment with the one we have in 084? Why are they using this technology to experiment with the most boring, ordinary man they've ever found? It's because he's not. I think Greg is one of the most powerful people to ever exist in the multiverse. He just doesn't know it yet. This theory only became more plausible as I thought more about who Greg even was. There has to be more of a reason why Terra Nova picked Greg and not someone else. Along with Terra Nova's Operation TAN to locate kids that could interact with alternate realities. I think that child has always been Greg. Greg is the reason why Terra Nova is being destroyed. Maybe the universe is being destroyed. I believe this for this one reason. Because of the character we haven't seen yet called Fane. When we enter Greg's name into the phone, we see a picture of him talking to Greg. We actually see multiple pictures of him talking to Greg. Some of them are flashed into the Terra Nova episode. And when you hear about both of their descriptions, how Greg is described as the most dangerous thing or person at the Terra Nova facility, and Fane just travels universes and he's extremely powerful. These two colliding can't mean good things for Terra Nova. I believe we're going to see something happen in this universe of Greg and Terra Nova that will be universe shattering. So yeah, you've heard the details to my theory, and I'm about to sum it all up as one cohesive story. But before that, enjoy this little clip of me having a brain blast mid-recording. That shit was actually functioning for once. Oh my god! Oh my god! Oh my god! Wait a minute. Wait a minute. And it's an egg. It's the narrator egg. Because the fucking egg is Greg. Just like Jerry was talking about how he was uploaded to the ICE. And that's why the narrator was getting dragged out of the TV when Greg was doing that shit with his brain and the headache, dragging all the Gregs. What the fuck, bro? What the fuck? I'm gonna have to cut this in after my other theory. So all in all, I think this story goes like this. Arthur Exton and Hans find out about a gifted child that's able to interact with these alternate reality beings. They manipulate this child into giving them what they want and start getting money by using technology that he pulls from other realities. At some point, they have enough money and technology to be able to start a lab and upload the original Greg's mind into technology, creating the first ICE. And they refer to this original Greg now as the narrator. They then use the ICE technology to look at other universes and see if there are other Gregs throughout the multiverse that have the same powers as the first, and they end up finding them. They manipulate and change up one of the Greg's lives so he thinks he's as boring and as ordinary as possible. They then use this Greg that thinks he doesn't have any powers to experiment with, while also using him for profit by creating this TV show. But since Terra Nova can't fully control other realities, they can only make slight changes to them. They weren't able to control the consequences of their tampering with the multiverse. And I believe, just like in Barry's story, our Greg will interact with his creator, causing something devastating to happen and destroying the cycle of Gregs. I finally get to say this legitimately. But that's just a theory of— I haven't slept in years. I've been reading so much terminal shit. But all of this theory and everything I've noticed and all of this story so far, I wouldn't have been able to understand it if it wasn't for the community that's in the Discord that so generously archived all of their findings, along with the people still looking for more clues and the art creators still trying to make more and put more out there, with more stuff coming later this year. As always, one of the reasons why I love these rabbit holes is because of the sense of community. It's really fun to like be alongside people as we witness a story like unfold together, you know. And hopefully with this video I've contributed to making that community bigger and making my community bigger, because you know, I made this video. If you don't know, I make more. If you want to be notified of those, you can join the Discord. Very nice, very fun time. We are also having an art contest for money and cash and fame. I totally didn't forget to mention that. Join it now, join it, do it, join it now. If you like RT60, you should join the fucking Discord. And thank you to the community members that have so generously put together like so much of their information into easy to digest places. I only started recently learning about this after months and months, and thanks to the Discord, I was able to catch up pretty quick. Barry's channel and the Discord are linked in the description of here. And this story is not finished. There's still so much to be uncovered. Back to me, like, if you have any more rabbit holes that you think I should cover that would be interesting, then send them my way. All my DMs are open on every platform. 2024 is the year. More vids coming soon. I'll see y'all later. Peace, peace.
Hey. Like and subscribe. Like and subscribe. If you like RT60, you should like and subscribe. Like and subscribe. like and subscribe. If you like RT60, you should like and subscribe. Like and subscribe. Like and subscribe. If you like RT60, you should like and subscribe. Like and subscribe. Like and subscribe. If you like RT60, you should like and subscribe.